Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Guinn and I will be giving my leadership presentation on transparency as well as transparency in leadership. So I have a little bit of a wonky setup here, so just bear with me. We're going to start off transparency. It's things that are see-through. You see through a window, it's transparent. But if we're going by the more appropriate definition, transparency as defined by Wikipedia is transparency as it pertains to behavior implies openness, communication, and accountability. So what this means is that you need to be see-through in the way that you act. So you have to tell people what you're doing and what you think on things, as well as hold yourself accountable for these things. Another way to define it in a more leadership perspective is that transparency in leadership means keeping people in the loop, sharing good and bad things, but not oversharing, and welcoming honest feedback from members of your team. So transparency is a very important trait in leadership, as it allows you to express what you think, as well as allows other people to express what they think about anything. An example of transparency in leadership, we do this all the time, especially when we're proposing week ideas for the next Spirit Week, is you propose your own ideas to our whole class, the whole leadership class, and it's open to the whole class to comment on said idea. This is transparency because you're accepting criticism, or at least I hope you're accepting criticism, as well as voicing your own opinion. So if you don't like an idea, you're allowed to say, hey, I don't like blank week, and you're being transparent in that. And hopefully your other members of leadership, being good members of leadership, will accept that information and use that to construct their own ideas in the future. Another example is just owning up to possibly making a mistake. So say you color the poster the wrong color and the person who made the poster doesn't like it, and you have to own up to that. That's a very obscure example, my apologies, but it's being accountable and being able to accept as well as distribute criticism, but not to the point where it is harsh and mean. Being transparent doesn't just mean voicing your own opinions and being accountable. It also can affect people's expectations. So, as from this little article I have, withholding information often leads to misunderstandings and unmet expectations. Leading with transparency helps you ensure that people's expectations are appropriately set and fulfilled. With clear, open, and frequent communication, people are less likely to make false assumptions. So, what this means, you can't have super high expectations for a Spirit Week. You can't want Michael Jordan to come give a speech in the gym and Barack Obama to fly in and hand out cookies to people. You also can't have super low expectations where we only have one event, although that does seem slightly reminiscent of our first couple Spirit Weeks of this year. But you just have to be in the right area, the gray area of expectations, so you as well as other people can understand what you're trying to accomplish, and it's not too outlandish and not too minimal. Good ways to be transparent are: establish a consistent policy for you and other leaders to be transparent about decisions. Conducting regular meetings with your group members, as well as people possibly on A Day or B Day, people who aren't normally included, and individuals such as teachers or the admin, to make sure that everyone is informed about new developments, that clear expectations have been set, and that every person has the chance to stay informed. Encouraging people to give honest feedback about ideas or opinions, and any changes that you see or announcements. So once again, going back, just being honest with your peers. Adopting an open door policy and asking team members to do the same. So adopting an open door policy, which means you're able to say not anything, but once again, this is very similar to giving honest feedback. It's being open with your peers and allowing them to speak what they want to, and same for you. And lastly, taking time to get to know your peers and meet with them somewhat regularly. And using this time to form personal connections is very important, as this makes you just inherently more transparent as you begin to develop trust, and you can convey emotions better with that person. All right, so what we should be able to conclude with transparency, as well as transparency in leadership, is transparency requires a strong will. So not being able to be transparent could reflect on your own honesty with yourself as well as your others. You have to hold yourself accountable in order to be transparent. There shouldn't be any surprises. There shouldn't be anything that is springed upon you. You should be able to be confident that you know everything is happening and that you know others around you know what is happening as well. Leading with transparency sets a standard for the rest of your peers and helps encourage them to be transparent as well. If you have, as Gio's presentation presented, Tyler Hunt is the quote-unquote best communicator in our class, our leadership class. So if Tyler goes around all day and lies about what he does and makes up things, we can't trust him. And so not a lot of people in our leadership class would want to be transparent, as there's not an environment that they would feel safe in. So it requires people to lead with transparency in order for people who may not be as vocal about their opinions or as honest with others to have a voice in the discussion and be able to say, hey, I don't like that idea, or voice their own opinions.